Hey YouTube, it's me, Protogenius, back with another fun tutorial. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make a Grim Reaper Halloween costume. Now this is one of the most simple Halloween costumes I have ever used, but it is super effective. I've used it in many spook alleys, and it always gets the desired effect. I've made full-grown men cry, I've made them leave their children running, screaming for their lives. It's a great costume, so follow me and I'll show you how to do this. Alright, so first and foremost, the most important part to the Grim Reaper costume is actually a pair of stilts. Now, I personally use a pair of Duralast sheetrocking stilts. These are really good, super effective stilts for a Grim Reaper costume because you don't have to really balance. You don't have to move around a lot to balance on these because of the springs, the way they're set up. You can basically keep your balance without having to move around a lot. Now a pair of these, now this is a Duralast. I don't know if you're going to be able to get the Duralast name brand, but you can get a pair of stilts just like these on eBay for under $100 with free shipping, and I highly recommend these because they're adjustable for the length, for how long you want your leg to be, for how tall you want your Grim Reaper costume to be. Now that you are going to need to tailor your costume, your actual cloak piece, depending on how high you want your stilt to be. Another option stilt-wise is a set of power risers. Those are I'd say between $100 for, like, say, a used pair and $400 for a brand new pair on eBay. And those are a really good option, but like I said, you're going to be moving around a lot more to try and keep your balance because it doesn't have a big foot on the bottom of it. But you can go really fast in those, and it's a good option. It's a really good option. So, yeah, first off, though, you are going to need a pair of stilts for this costume. So now for the cloak part. Now the cloak it's going to be different for everybody depending on how tall you are. Now first off, what you need to do is you need to put on your stilts to the height you want your Grim Reaper costume to be, and then you need to measure to where the shoulder is. And so measure from where the shoulder is to the floor, and then add on between 6 inches to a foot onto the costume. You might end up having to cut a little bit off on the bottom, but this is so that it covers up the bottom of the stilt all the way. So first off, what you're going to do, I don't have a pattern for this, but it's so simple that you should be able to figure this out. It's not really that hard. Okay, first off, what you're going to do is you get just a great big rectangular piece of big rectangular piece of fabric. The one that I have used, or that is been used for my cloak, is over 6 feet wide. It's just right about 6 foot wide, so that it reaches to the end of both of my arms. And then what you do is you get the length that you get from your shoulder to the floor, and you double that, like I said, and then you add a couple, between 6 inches to a foot onto that, and then you cut a hole right in the center for where your hood is going to be. Now then you can double that piece of material up and over the top of the person as they're standing there to work with at that point. Then what you're going to do is, for the hood, it's actually kind of a half circle shape that you use for the hood, and you just kind of get to where, right about in the front, just past where the shoulder is on the body of that, and you sew both sides so that it goes up and over the top of the head, and then you kind of bunch the fabric around the back at that point right here. Okay, and then last but not least, when you go to stitch up the sides on the cloak, because right now it's going to be hanging there, it's going to be open on the front, it's going to be open on the back. What you need to do is you need to sew it up to on the sides, on both sides, up until there's about that much that's not sewn up at the top, where there's kind of a hole there that's left at the top for the arms. Now, you guys are probably going to wonder, well, that's not tailored to the body then, you know, it's just kind of this big rectangle thing. Actually, that is so effective, you have no idea. Because this costume, when you put your arms straight out to the sides, it hangs straight down, and you can make yourself look like you're just a curtain in a spook alley, where you can kind of lower your head and stuff, and it looks like you're just kind of a piece of material that's been just hung there. People don't realize that there's something alive right there in front of them. Honestly, people will walk within 6 inches of me when I'm wearing this costume in a spook alley, and they have no clue that there is a 9 foot tall person standing right next to them until I start to move. And because I'm so close, people lose their minds when this happens. I'll show you what the costume looks like now. I'm going to put it on so you guys can kind of get an idea of how big this thing is. So here it is. As you can see, I put my arms to the sides, it hangs straight down, makes kind of a big square shape. Anyway, yeah, it's kind of dirty actually. In a lot of the spook alleys I've been in, that's not a bad thing because it looks dingy, gray, scary, dead. So yeah, it's got some spots and stuff on it. It's been through it. This costume, actually, this particular costume is over 30 years old, and so, but the as you notice, we used a sheer material on this cloak so that we could actually see through it. I highly recommend doing that. If you can't do that, then you can at least pull the hood back and make a face piece that you can see through. Make it either straight black or you can put a skull on it. I've had a skull with this before. I do recommend, though, if you can, to kind of drape the hood over the face because it's much more effective because people can see the skull if it's fake or not, and then they, oh yeah, that's not real. But with it being just down like this normally, it has a really good effect. Another thing you'll notice, I'm actually wearing a helmet with this, and that's for multiple reasons. Number one, I'm really tall, I run into door jams, lighting fixtures, all kinds of things. You're going to want a helmet for that. If you trip, you're going to want a helmet. If you, and another thing is, proportion-wise, you're really tall now. Your head is not big enough for how tall the body is, so I recommend putting a helmet on underneath. That's another reason why you drape the hood over, and it makes it look like the head's a lot bigger, so it looks like a great big person. And so that's basically the extent of it. I also have a scythe to go with mine. It's not that hard to make. Just grab some PVC pipe from the store, go black with the black kind or the white kind. You can warm it up with like a blowtorch or a hot air gun and kind of shape it to look kind of gnarled. And then if you're going low budget, you can use cardboard and aluminum tape or just some aluminum spray paint. That works really good, but I don't recommend making an actual blade with this costume because you don't want to hurt anybody. Anyway, so I'm Proto Genius, and this has been another tutorial. Thanks for watching my videos, guys. Feel free to rate, thumbs up, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I've got a ton more stuff coming, and I look forward to teaching you some more great stuff.